Greetings, everyone. I'm Bill Griffith, welcoming you to The American Entrepreneur. Our program is about people who are willing to put it all on the line to make their dreams come true. And we'll profile a family business that revolves around a stick. It's kind of a combination bass and guitar, and the instrument is making its inventor something of a star.
I don't feel like being in business robs me of my music, or vice versa. One gives power and depth to the other.
Our next guest is the creator of what has been called the first truly new instrument in close to 100 years. Since the invention of the saxophone, nothing has quite paralleled the creation of the stick. Emmett Chapman and his wife Jutta started from scratch more than 20 years ago, and today they successfully manage their business, Stick Enterprises. And like so many successful entrepreneurs, the Chapmans stick to what they do best.
I never intended to be an inventor or an entrepreneur, and being a musician is kind of a humble role. But on the other hand, you could become a star, right? So is it humble or isn't it humble? I don't know whether it is or not, but it's what I want to be, is a musician. That's what I want to be. But what I am is a person that has a lot of ideas.
One of those ideas turned into a business for Emmett Chapman. Today it's called Stick Enterprises. The instrument is simply called the stick.
This is the stick. It's made out of oak, and this is the regular acoustic version of the instrument. That is, it's as acoustic as it can be. It's still an electric instrument with an electric pickup, and it's like an electric guitar on this side and an electric bass guitar on this side. So just to play you a little improvisation on it to show you what all is possible, you can kind of wander harmonically with the bass while you react to it in the melody. That's why I like it.
That's also why some 2,000 to 3,000 stick players around the world like it. But it all started because Chapman wouldn't stop striving for more creative possibilities on his guitar.
I wanted to play like George Van Epps on guitar orchestrally, but also like Jimi Hendrix on guitar melodically. And it just wasn't possible to do all that.
So Chapman experimented.
Picking the strings with a modified baby comb that was shaped like a pick. They involved having more strings, up to 9 strings. They involved having a gear shift on the instrument where you can operate it with your elbow, and it operated what I called a wild string, which was the highest string. And so I could wang it up to any other interval I want. Which really
the experimentation process continued until finally this guitar helped him discover the stick technique way back in 1969.
That evening when I discovered this technique, I never went back to guitar picking again, but played with 2 hands like you see here. Okay, this instrument is the first stick where I called it the electric stick. It's in 1970. I bought a piece of ebony wood and just kind of brutally made it into an instrument.
Production is more sophisticated today.
By George, I've got it.
From a small workshop, Chapman can manufacture 100 sticks at a time. With the help of his daughter Grace and a few other employees, Chapman turns blocks of wood into works of art.
I use the woods, just plain oak, which is ordinary looking, but has a lot of character, I think, and also exotic hardwoods. And then the final work takes about 2 hours, and that's where I set them up, right here in my studio.
Chapman and his wife Jutta both own and operate the business from their home in Woodland Hills, California.
Well, that looks like one for you to answer.
While Emmett deals with production and new techniques, Jutta focuses on customers and musicians. She does mailing lists and handles all the bookkeeping.
I get caught away doing this experiment, getting a new design modification here, doing some intensive recording there, and things that take me away from the normal routines of the business. So she keeps the business going.
And Jutta seems content being the only non-musician in the family.
No, my daughters play piano and guitar and bass, and Emmett plays stick, and I play typewriter and my computer.
The business is growing, and though it's still a conservative operation, it has come a long way.
To start in this, we had to launch off into it. And what we did in our Laurel Canyon house is we subdivided it way back in the early 70s, petitioned it off, and rented half of it out, and bought an old VW that seemed to run on air and got rid of our gas guzzler. We did everything we could to get started on it, and we sacrificed a lot, and that went on maybe for 6 or 7 years, where we barely had enough money to get to our next production and to advertise properly. All that's behind us now.
What's ahead for this family business is growth. They are ready to increase production as soon as demand is there, but for the moment, they are hoping for industry recognition.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for showing up tonight and coming to hear some music, and there's going to be a lot of improvisation. As you're longer in business and you get burned a few times, you realize how important trust and loyalty are. And most people just don't realize that. They don't have the slightest idea about it. And that's why family businesses survive.
I think that you get to know each other so well. It's like its own symphony. Sometimes it's heavy metal.
Chapman's music is neither symphony nor heavy metal.
We'd like to play a very old standard, When Johnny Comes Marching Home.
But whether it's an old standard or a Chapman original, the music has a style all its own.
It's what I do. You know, whatever your life is, that's it, and it's a mixed bag. And you know, in a way, it's like asking me, do I like being who I am? I don't feel like being in business robs me of my music, or vice versa. One gives power and depth to the other. That's how it should be, anyway.